So in the very beginning of the game, the first thing that you will do is complete the travel actions as described on the cards. So if we look at the opposition forces, the sector panels, and the opposition flagship on the impending card, we will trigger the events as they show. Okay, so this will be the travel event phase. I actually recorded this earlier, so if some stuff looks a little different here, it's because for whatever reason that file was corrupted and I have to redo this. So one of the things that we do, just like we had done in an earlier phase, by placing these tokens down, we'll also do that for the opposition ships. Now the thing that I do is I make sure when I place them on is to leave these phase events easily seen. So usually on the weapon marker, or the weapon energy markers, you're going to keep those so that you can still read the words and text on the ships, or different sectors and whatnot. So what you'll do is you'll start with your travel events. So you'll look through all of the different cards, including cards that you may have played on your panels, or cards that you have in your hand, different boosts that you may be able to play during specific phases. Here we have the ship in this sector with the most energy travels to the sector with the most ships. So what you're looking at here is we have two ships here that we had placed. So the sector with the most ships would be here. So we're going to have to move this ship to here. Now, one of the big things about the events is that you do not have to do them in any specific order as long as they are all done. The players get to choose which order benefits them the most and can trigger it accordingly. Now, you must trigger all of the events though, so don't forget to trigger all of them, and don't skip over any of them. So right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 different travel events. This one was move this ship here into a sector with the most ships. This one says that you move all of the weapon energy from automatronic hunters in this sector to this ship, and then move all defensive energy from bionic gatherers in this sector to this ship. Well, this is an automatronic hunter. Both of these have those travel events, so this would be one of those situations where the players can then choose what is most advantageous to them. Do you want to bring the opposition ship over, triggering this first, and then triggering one of these two opposition ships' travel? If you would do that, you would take the 3 energy from this automatronic hunter and place it on one of these alpha primes. Then, as we showed earlier, you would take one of, or if I didn't show earlier, if this power marker, or the power token here, is a 3, but since we moved all of that over, it actually is a 0 now, so we would place a 0 token to show that this card no longer has any weapon energy. So the positive to this is if we engage this ship during the battle phase, we will actually have no damage done to whichever Strike Force ship engages the opposition ship. But on the other hand, over here, this Alpha Prime now has a total of 7 energy, weapon energy. So when these engage, it will actually do 7 damage to whichever Strike Force ship is engaged. So in this case, what I had done was I had triggered the 2 Alpha Primes and their travel ability first. Because I triggered them first, their effect went off before the automatronic hunter went into play into the sector. So these travel events have already been completed, so when this one moves over, neither one of these alpha primes will take the energy from the automatronic hunter. The other one that we have over here is generally going to be play the top card of the mission deck for the travel event on any of the opposition panels. Do not forget to do this, since it is kind of off to the side. Sometimes it can be forgotten. So what we would do is, on this, we've played the top card of the mission deck in the sector with the most opposition ships. So again, we actually only have one choice, which would be the Beretta Trade Outpost. So we would place this here. Now, again, if I didn't go over this earlier, any event, when it comes out, if it has an event that triggers in the same phase that the card comes out onto the board, that event is ignored. So on this mission, Hostile Takeover, it does have a travel event, but because it came out during the travel phase, this will be ignored for this turn. On the other hand, we do have an Aftermath event. The Aftermath event will be played during this turn. Because this card did not come out during the Aftermath phase, it came out previous to it. The other event was on All Become One, which was the starting mission for the Singularity. So the very last one is this, and that says, if this sector is overrun, flip the Omega's opposition panel, and basically we would bring the flagship out. But since that is not, those conditions have not been met, since the Beretta Trade Outpost is still contested, we ignore that as well. Then what you will do is, if you have any boosts in your hands that you wish to play, generic boosts can be played after the event of any phase, or the event part of any phase. And then there are also boosts that are specific to phases, so it'll say boost travel, boost requisition, boost installation. Those boosts can only be played during that respective round. If it just says boost, you can play it during any of the phases. And then during the first turn, the very last thing that you are going to do is you are going to take your ship from your ship panel and place it into one of the sectors. They must move at the beginning of the game from the ship panel to the sectors. The only time that the ships will move back to the ship panels is if the ship is grounded. And when you are grounded, that means essentially you're dead, and you do have some abilities that you can use throughout the rest of the phases. You'll pick one each turn to kind of help out, so that you're not just sitting around waiting for your buddies to end the game. And that would be it for the travel phase.